the coach and the person being coached really are partners. They are thinking together. They are looking for solutions together. And because it involves the aspect of progress, moving from one stage to another, there's often a lot of provocation. So even in this session, I might say things or ask questions which are really provocative. That's part of the work that I do. So I'm not a counselor. I am not trained to handle issues in a very nice and, compromising way. I'm trained to hit, to shoot, because then that's what helps people to get up and be creative and do things that they need to do so that they can maximize their personal and professional potential. And the benefits of life coaching are very many, but I summarized them in two. And the first of those is really to create a more resourceful state of mind. A state of mind basically means the knowledge, the emotions, the ability that naturally is rotating on someone's mind, the way you are thinking, the way you are doing things, the kind of actions you are taking, those things that you don't have to think out of the ordinary so much. So the state of mind is very important because it's everything, especially if you are looking for change, but also if you're looking for enjoyment and fulfillment from life. You need a state of mind that can enable that. And then when you have a state of mind that is resourceful, you are able to get more out of life. More clarity, more understanding, more success, more leverage, more opportunities. There's that ripple effect. So when we are coming into a coaching session like this one, you are wondering, am I having an unresourceful pattern of thinking? So by the end of the coaching session, you should be able to start thinking, okay, maybe I can think in different ways. You redirect the way you are normally thinking about life, your perspectives, your beliefs about life, the things that you know, acknowledging that actually what you know is not everything about life. There is always more. And then you're thinking about the nature of your interactions with people and with yourself. And you're saying, okay, I need to empower myself. How am I relating with me? What am I telling myself? What am I telling other people? When I get into spaces with other people, how do I come off? What do people read? What I say and what I do not say? And how much can I control in there? So the coaching session allows you to think of giving yourself more power, more knowledge, more skills, so that you can control your interactions with people. Then there's the question of comfort zone. Naturally, we are oriented to live a kind of life that we have built over time. So there are things that we easily do, we easily think, and that's the space within which we operate on a normal day. But when you do these kinds of coaching sessions, then you appreciate more that actually you can expand your comfort zone. The risks are there, the fears are there. But when you expand the comfort zone, then you have a larger playing field. Then the other question that might be on someone's mind is the issue of decisions. Possibly someone is making decisions that are routinely unrewarding. The outcomes or the consequences are always negative, shocking. They are not helping one to grow. So when you do a life coaching session, then you're able to think of, okay, what are the alternative ways in which I could approach my decision making? We shall be talking about the details later. So in a nutshell, Life coaching enables us to recognize more that life rewards how you present yourself to it. That is the general rule. Of course, there are exceptions. There are moments when you present yourself in the most appropriate way for that environment, but you do not get the reward. But generally, life, the natural law of life is that how you present yourself opens room, opens doors, creates opportunities for how people embrace you, and therefore the rewards come in that way. So even a negative presentation of self attracts the negativity because that's what you are giving away. So today we are talking about the subject of personal growth. That what are the options for personal growth? When someone is getting on that journey, what do they need to consider and reconsider? But before we look at the options, which will be later on, let's reflect again on this concept of personal growth. What does it actually mean? Some people possibly know what it is. Others have not a very clear understanding because we're at different levels of intellectual growth and exposure. So, personal growth is the process of continuous self-improvement in different areas of life. Now, mark that part there. The process, it's a process of continuous self-improvement, which means it is ongoing. You can't do something once, you let it go, and then you expect growth. You can't put a halt to doing certain things, and then you hope that growth is actually happening. And then the key term there is self-improvement. That the things you are doing continuously should lead you to being better, to doing better, to thinking better. So the positive progress aspect is very key for you to be able to say that, okay, I am growing. And then we are also highlighting there that growth must happen in the different areas of life. So if you focus on one area of life, we are going to look at those areas in the wheel of life shortly. So if you're focusing on growth in just one aspect of life, let's say finances or career or relationships or health, that means you are not growing. So your continuous process of self-improvement must be done with that awareness that life has very many aspects and all of them should be taken care of in order for me to grow. So the process of continuous improvement includes continued self-awareness. Mark that word there, continued. That it doesn't end. It almost has no beginning, has no end. You have to continuously know who are you, what are you doing, when, where, with who. And then it includes developing and nurturing habits, skills, and a progressive mindset. That you initiate something, let's say a habit or a skill. For example, you can say, going forward, I am going to be a better time manager. You have thought of an idea. And then you nurture that habit or the skill. Nurturing means you keep on building it. You may fail sometimes, but because you have self-awareness, you have to remember and then go back to the junction to say, oh, okay, this is what I had decided to do. Now I am backtracking. Then you go back and nurture so that it becomes a part of your natural thinking and doing system. So developing and nurturing habits, skills, and a progressive mindset, progressive. We are talking about personal growth. To grow is progress, to change upwards. A progressive mindset for a person's overall well-being and success. Overall, there, which is in line with different areas of life. So, personal growth is the outcome of personal development. Personal growth, you may look at it as the vision that you want to grow. But in everyday life, you are taking steps and strategies, which is what personal development is, to demonstrate your will, your commitment, and self-discipline towards growth. Now, this means that you must lay personal development strategies and steps or approaches, whatever works. These are detailed and very specific so that ultimately you get what you want, which is personal growth. The only way we will know that you have grown, or the way you will know that you have grown, is if you have committed yourself, you have the will, and you are restraining yourself from not deviating on what you chose to do. Commitment is very key because it means doing what you said you are going to do at the time you said you are going to do it. So that way you reduce excuses on what didn't happen. Now, this does not mean that you cannot fail or that things will not fail to work out sometimes. Because you have self-awareness, when things do not work, then you will know. And then you go back to the drawing board and you say, okay, maybe I'm committing to the wrong things. Maybe I have laid strategies and steps that are actually not taking me to where I want to go. Then you are able to reframe, to redo certain things, to change your thinking pattern so that you can take different actions. Okay, I hope we are together. Are we together?
Yes, we are, Viola. We are together.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Right. Now, let's talk about the wheel of life. This is going to give us the foundation for how to think more about personal growth. I am aware that some of you obviously know something about this subject. So that is why I keep on using the word more or better or deeper, because I know we are already on the journey of growth. Now, the wheel of life, it has been shared in the groups. So this picture may not be very clear depending on the gadget you are using. So feel free to use the image that you've been given for clarity. Now, the wheel of life is a tool we use in life coaching. It's not my innovation. This tool is a diagnostic approach which enables someone to get a clear understanding of where they are at in life. You can equate it to going to a hospital and you ask the doctor to give you a report of the status of your health. So you go and tell the doctor, please tell me, am I sick? Do I have diabetes? Do I have cancer? If I'm a lady, am I pregnant? You want to know everything. You want a report. You are not yet at the level of saying, okay, let's begin treatment. You just want a report. So the doctor will do different tests and then present to you that report. So this is what we are going to do today. Each one of you is now your doctor. You are going to diagnose yourself using that wheel of life, and I'll be guiding you on the aspects to consider, so that first of all, you give yourself a report. So that when we come to the point of what are the options for personal growth, you have a baseline, you have a basis for thinking about how to grow and to revisit what you thought was growth, but it wasn't, and to strengthen those areas that you are already working on. So the Wheel of Life has 8 areas. The person who proposed this tool believes that life is comprised of 8 areas, and I agree with them. So whatever you want to think about life can be located anywhere in one of those areas. So you are going to grade yourself in each of those areas on a scale of 100, so that at the end of the day, you look at marks. You're checking, how am I doing? What's the report card saying? There's no particular order. So we can begin with, let's say, business, career. Now that one has 2 components. So if you are doing a business and you also have a career, you can stroke. You put a line in between there so that you grade them separately, still out of 100 for each. So on career, think about the following things. Do you have a career? Is it something you chose? Or did it choose you? How did you end up practicing in the area where you are practicing? Are you happy with your progress? Are you happy with your current situation in that career? When you think of the future, what opportunities are there for growth? Are they there? Are they within your reach in mind when you think of the short-term and long-term future? Are you going to be able to grow in that line? Think of the people within your space in that career. Do they understand you? Do they appreciate you? Are you contributing to what they are doing? Are they enabling you to do the things that you need to do for progress to happen? You are thinking of the daily activities, the everyday things, small things, big things, your tasks, your roles, your responsibilities, obligations, rights, etc., in line with your career. How are you doing on a scale of 100? And feel free to add any other thing that I have not mentioned. Just think about your career. Are you where you wanted to be? If you are not, how far will it take you going forward? And here you are looking at life realistically, because this is your personal life. People might have made comments, for example, and said, oh, you are doing well. Oh, you have progressed. But you, who is living that career life, have you progressed? Are you happy? Does it make sense to you? So on a scale of 100, how are you doing in terms of career? And if you don't consider yourself a career person, that is also okay. You don't have to grade it. Now we think about business. If you have a business, how did you start that business? Whose idea was it? Was it yours? If it wasn't yours, how did you end up embracing it? Are you getting profits? Because it's a business. When you think of the future, is there room for growth in that business? Is it taking you anywhere? When you think of the things you have to do routinely, every day, every certain period for that business to thrive, are they things you are happy to do? How much discomfort do they give you? When you think of the people that you are working with in that business, do they understand it? Are they supportive? Are they available? Are they doing what they are supposed to do? If you have a business partner, are they playing their part? If you think of the premises, for example, where you are working from, even for career, you can think of the larger picture of the ideological environment. What do you think about it? So on a scale of 100, grade yourself. How are you doing in terms of business? If you have a business, or if you want to start one, for how long has the thought been there? When did you conceive the idea? How long has it taken you to start? Why aren't you starting? So grade yourself on business. Then we got finances. Here you are thinking about everything to do with money. Income, for example. Do you have an income? Do you have multiple sources of cash inflow? If you have an income, does it match your expenditure? Yes, a business can be the same as investment. A business is profit-oriented. Let me read the comments again. Is business? Yes. I guess I'm confused. Can you unmute and ask what's causing the confusion?
I think the confusion is, good morning, everyone. I think that my name is Kovia. I think the confusion is on my end, not from your side. So I was just wondering whether business and investment are the same thing, given that they maybe come from different backgrounds where business may be someone's career at the same time, while investment may be as a result of career. I don't know. So I was kind of trying to rate that, and I'm wondering whether I'm doing the right thing on that. I guess that is why I was confused.
Okay. Thank you for raising that. Yes, for some people, business is a career, although technically, a career is a different thing from a business. But without just going so much into semantics, think of your investment in terms of profit. If it is profit-oriented, then it is a business. Then we shall have the discussion and then we shall iron out so you'll get clarity towards the end. Okay, now we are talking about finances. When you compare your income to your expenditure, are they balancing? And now we are not going to go into the conversation of, oh, money is never enough. Yes, money is never enough. But for the start, when you think about what you are earning versus what you are spending, is there a match or a mismatch? How does that make you feel? If you have one source of income, is it okay for you? How long do you have to wait for money to come in? Is it, for example, a salary? Is it wages? Are you earning from a business? What is it? And what's the impact of that on your well-being whenever you have to wait for that money? Then here, you're thinking about the way you spend money. Do you have planned expenditures, or do you just spend based on impulse? Somehow you end up spending without a plan. Then here you're also thinking about your long-term financial plan. For example, are you doing things, laying strategies such as investments in line with finances so that you can project into the future and say to yourself, in the next 5 or 10 years, I'll be earning a certain amount of money. Of course, it cannot be an exact imagination, but something to give you an idea. You're thinking about your money habits generally. What are your money habits? Do you understand them? Are you clear that you are kind of a person who knows how to use money properly according to the set purpose? You are thinking of things like savings. Right now, do you have savings? If you got a problem and you needed to save yourself, first of all, can you rely on yourself before you call someone else to step in? the starting point. For example, you got involved in an accident. If you are driving, your car broke down, you were robbed, or something urgent happens and you need to spend money. Can you save yourself? So think about everything to do with finances. How are you doing financially as we speak right now? Don't go to the past. Don't go to the future. Right now, how are you doing on a scale of 100? And then we go to health. On health, you are reflecting about a number of things like, do you know what it means to be healthy? What's your scope of knowledge? Medical practitioners, nutritionists, and other kinds of people, for example, talk about a balanced diet, the frequency of eating, the portions, etc. Are you aware of those things? Are you practicing them? Things like taking enough water, enough fluid. Are you actually doing them? Then you're thinking about physical health, how you look. For example, when you look at your height, your weight, do you know the dynamics that your weight should be in line with your height? When you look at your skin, are you in good health? Do you have, for example, skin disorders? Are you aware of them? If you are aware of them, are you treating them? Then you are thinking about illnesses and sicknesses. How often do you fall sick? Are these unexplained sicknesses? Today you have a headache, tomorrow you have stomach ache, the other day some other part is paining. What is causing that kind of on and off sickness? If these are chronic illnesses, for example, cancer, diabetes, etc., are you aware that you have them? Are you treating them? HIV, AIDS? So do you understand the status of your health? Do you know it? And then you're also thinking about personal hygiene. For example, bathing. Do you know how to bathe? Or we like to say showering. Do you know how to shower or bathe? Do you know the frequency? Are you using the soap or liquid soap or tub soap? What is it that you are using? Is it something that makes you happy? Clothes. Are you wearing clean clothes? Clean by normal standards. Are these clothes in good shape? Things like socks, depending on the kind of work we do. Are you taking care of socks? When you look at your nails, fingers, feet, think of your hair. How often do you wash it? So basically, you're looking at everything to do with health. Brushing. Do you brush? Do you know how often you should brush? What is the status of your health generally? When you think of your space at home, at work, your business, is it a healthy working area? etc. So grade yourself. How are you doing in terms of health? Then we go to relationships. Here, we are going to stroke and put one section for relationships with friends, another section for relationships with family. Now, we are not yet going to spouses or romantic relationships. Those will come in the next part of romance. So here we are talking about relationships with family and friends because we choose friends, but we do not choose family. That's the difference. So let's begin with one, family. Do you have a family? Blood relatives, parents, siblings, uncles, aunties. Do you have those people? Do you know them? If you don't have them, how does that make you feel? Does it destabilize you, disorganize you? Does it make you happy? If you have those people, What is your kind of relationship with them? Do they understand you? Do they know you? Do they know your aspirations? You could even think of a few of them and say, okay, in my family, there are certain individuals who really know me. When you have a challenge and you need help, can you easily reach out to those people and say, hey, I need help? Are they available to support you? Or are you often on your own and people are wondering what's happening with your family? And yourself, you're always questioning, okay, but what is it with my family? I don't understand something. You are thinking, how often do I reach out to my family members? For example, how often do I pick my phone and call someone, greet them, support them, be there for them, etc. Now, sometimes outsiders will make comments like, oh, you come from a good family, you are so lucky. Okay, that's good. But you, who comes from that family, you who is in that family, how do you feel? Is it a good family? Is it a supportive family? Then we talk about relationships with friends. Do you have friends? Does it matter to you that you have them or you don't have them? Are they your friends or you are their friend? You know that saying that sometimes you are in the relationship alone. You are thinking someone is your friend when actually they don't mind you at all. They are living their life. So who is the friend in this relationship? Is it a two-way or is it a one-way? What do you think about your friends? Do they know you? Do they support you? Are they available? What do you think they think about you when you analyze? Again, people might tell you, oh, you have good friends, your friends are available, etc. We thank them for the comments. But you who is in the relationship, what do you know? What is the truth? So things like betrayal, unexplained tensions, memories, things that you think of and you're like, okay, this person is really my friend. But that one, your own judgment of those relationships. How often do you take the initiative to say, okay, let me call this person. This person is my friend. For how long do you talk with that person who you claim to be your friend? Then how often do they reach out to you? Their own initiative without you saying, hey, but you girl, you jacked me. How often are they reaching out to you, to greet you, to ask useful questions? So on the whole, grade yourself. How are you doing in terms of relationships with family and relationships with friends? Then we go to romance. Romance has two aspects: self-romance and then romance with a significant other. Now, the word romance sometimes is mistaken to mean what happens in the bedroom, behind closed doors. That's just one aspect of it. Actually, romance is a question of valuing. Let's go to the detail. If you have a significant other, a husband, a fiancé, a boyfriend, think about how they are romancing you, how they are valuing you. The first point of romance is knowledge. Do they know you? Do they understand you? You, when you think about it, does that person know you? Do they appreciate you? Do they value you? When these sorts of relationships get in the bad days, or even when they end, the questions we are asking ourselves are such as, all the things I did for this person, this is how they've paid me back. All along, this person was lying to me. All along, I thought they were important to my life, but actually, they didn't even notice that I was sacrificing. Can you imagine the time and the money I put in? It's a question of valuing. Can you imagine all along I thought I was the only wife or girlfriend or fiancé? Kumbe the guy had someone else or other people. So now think through. Does that person value you based on how they talk, how they treat you in terms of actions, how well they understand you? How often do you conflict, and on what kinds of issues? When you think about those issues, are they things that you should be conflicting about? What's the frequency of those sorts of conflicts? Would this person defend you if you got in trouble? Do you truly believe this person is in this relationship with you? Or again, are you in the romantic relationship alone? Before you know it, you are married to yourself, you are dating yourself, etc. So think about the value aspect. Are you being valued in that relationship? And then grade yourself there. Then we go to self-romance. Do you know yourself? Do you value yourself? What things do you do for yourself, whether openly or behind closed doors, which can demonstrate to you that actually you consider yourself to be important? What do you tell yourself? What do you tell other people about you? What sacrifices do you make for yourself? For example, you might say, this month when I get my salary, I'm taking myself on a treat. When I get this profit from the kind of work I'm doing, I am going to do something special for myself. Self-love includes setting boundaries so that people cannot just cross them and abuse you or violate you. Have you set those boundaries? When you think about the kind of people that come into your space, does that show that you are actually protecting yourself? If you are not protecting yourself, then do you love yourself? Are you romancing yourself well? Are there things that have happened to you and then you are thinking, okay, if I hadn't opened up my space to this person, or if I hadn't done this, I would not have gone through that situation. So the question of you to you, how are you relating with yourself? Even the things you think about yourself. Okay, grade yourself there on self-love and romance with a significant other. Then we go to personal growth. Personal growth rotates around things that are unique to you as an individual, including intellectual growth. How are you growing? Have you grown in the last how many years? Intellectually, has your knowledge and exposure about life increased? Can you talk about certain subjects that are outside of your business, outside of your career? Can you contribute to a subject about life? For example, how much are you reading? What kind of videos, let's say YouTube, are you watching? Are they enabling you to grow intellectually? What kind of critical analysis are you doing about things? Are you growing in terms of how you look at issues, you put them into perspective, and you make an analysis on your own without first consulting other people, without the external view? You. What is your capacity of analysis of issues? You're talking about, here we are also looking at things like managing personal stuff, like managing past traumas. Maybe you were traumatized earlier on as a child or a young adult, at work, at your place of worship, anywhere. What is your capacity to go beyond those issues? And when we talk about dealing with those issues, we are not necessarily talking about you taking back people who hurt you into your life. We are talking about you being able to acknowledge and say, okay, I was hurt, I cannot change it, I am forgiving and letting it go, and I am protecting my space. How are you dealing with personal traumas, personal hurts, etc.? Under personal growth, we are also talking about the issue of spirituality. And in there will also come religion. But spirituality is a question of that deep understanding and connection to the higher being. Some people will say God, Allah. Mama Fina also has her version. So wherever you belong, do you have that connection with the higher being? When you connect and reflect about your life, does it give you an idea about what you are meant to do in life, your purpose, your sense of purpose, your fulfillment, what you are supposed to contribute to life? The personal, the uniqueness in you. This is why we say personal. Then we are talking about things like managing emotions. People like to say emotional intelligence. How are you doing in terms of emotional highs and lows? Are you a kind of person who will often say things and then you are often retracting what you said? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how I ended up saying that. I shouldn't have said it. You know, I was so angry. I lost my temper. How often are you apologizing for things which happened as a result of extremely high or low emotions? How are you doing in terms of restraining yourself from expressing yourself in a way that is unresourceful? Of course, once in a while, the only way to solve a problem or an issue is to really let loose and, you know, go on a rampage and say and do extreme things. But that is once in a while. So on a daily, how are you managing your emotions? What's the depth of you being hurt? What kind of things hurt you? Are these things that should be hurting you when you hear something has been said about you, or you've been disappointed, you expected someone to do something, to play their part in an agreement that you did and they didn't? How much are you allowing things to upset you, to get you out of the normal person that you should be? Then personal growth, we are also talking about progress, which is going to be the topic for today. Are you progressing? What goals had you set for yourself? When you think of you now, have you grown as an individual? Is this organic growth or is it superficial? Is it sustainable? Are you able to track and say, okay, I moved from here, I did this, I did the other. This is how I've arrived here. How are you doing in terms of personal planning? You, the individual. Leave alone what people might be telling you that you need to do, that you are good at. Your own view of what you think you need to do. So how are you doing in terms of personal growth? Okay, wow, what videos on TikTok am I watching? Okay, that's a good reflection. The next part is fun and recreation. You are asking yourself here, am I having fun in life? What is my sense of leisure? The things that give me that sense of leisure. Now, if you are a tour guide or you work in the tourism industry, we shall not allow you to say that for you, you have leisure when you are at work. That is work. It falls under business and career. So away from work, if you are a lecturer like myself, I cannot say that I derive enjoyment from teaching. That is work. So we are talking about the things that you do outside of your work. Do you know how to have fun? Are you having fun? Do you know who you need on your team on a day when you want to be silly, when you want to laugh, when you want to dress like to whom it may concern? Who do you bring on the team? There are certain people who do not understand the concept of having fun. So it's a good day for you to dilly-dally, and then someone is making judgments. You mean you can laugh like that? I didn't know someone of your caliber can laugh like that. But it's a day for fun. I'm not at work. It's a moment for me to relieve myself. So which kind of people do you always have fun with? Are they available when you need them? Are they non-judgmental? What kind of activities do you do to give you a sense of fun? Some people like to cook and eat with friends, family, work colleagues. Some people like to go to the wild and, look at new places, animals, etc. Some people just want to take a quiet walk. Some people like to sleep. Some people like to watch a movie, read a book, etc. For you, what is yours? When you decide that I want to loosen up, I want to have a good day for myself, what do you do? Do you have a budget for it? Do you have a plan? Are you able to say that, okay, I'm going to do certain things at the end of the month, I'll take myself on a treat for fun. And when you go to have fun, what is your capacity to close off all other things? Some people say they have gone for fun and then half the time they are attending to work-related things. They move with a laptop, they are on the phone, etc. And I do understand because of the nature of work, sometimes it's inevitable. Once in a while, you are required to give some feedback or, do something related to work. But again, that is not an everyday thing. So when do you decide to have fun? Do you actually go out and have fun? Or you can explain. So grade yourself. Do you know the places you like to go to when you want to have fun? What is the extent of your exposure? What is even your determining factor for you saying, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to be with ABC, with such and such a person? What do you base on to say that you want to go and have fun and to make decisions in that line? Okay, now we go to the last one, which is physical environment. If you like here, you can stroke. If you have a workplace or your business, you can put a line so that you grade work or career physical environment with different from physical environment at home. So basically, when we talk about physical environment, we are referring to everything visible in your space. So for example, at home, what kind of physical environment is there? You are thinking of space. For example, how much space is in your sitting room, in your bedroom, in your kitchen? When you are cooking, can you easily move around? When you're using the sitting room or the bedroom, can you easily move around? Or do you always have to first shift things, then do what you want to do, then return the things? How does that make you feel? What impact does it have on your well-being? You're thinking about things like aeration. Where you live, is there natural air coming in to the home, to the house? Can you breathe properly? You are thinking about things like paint, the color of paint in your house.
Viola, we can't hear you. Sorry, ladies, we'll just give her a moment as she rejoins. I don't know why we can't hear her anymore. We appreciate your patience. Maybe in the meantime, you can share some of your lessons in the chat. Any questions that you might have as we wait for her to join again. Thank you. And then she'll address them as soon as she rejoins. Oh, she's back. Ladies, feel free to share your questions in the meantime.
Recording in progress.
I have no idea how that happened. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what really happened. Okay, so we continue with physical environment. So you're thinking about the paint in the house. Did you choose it? Did it choose you? When you enter that space at home, how does it make you feel? Are you aware that some colors can affect your visual capacity and comfort? What are you doing about it? Physical environment. You're thinking about, for example, the quality, the material of things in your house. For example, chairs. Are they plastic chairs? Are they leather? Are they cotton? Do you care about the physicality of them? Do they have any impact on you? You think about your bed, for example. What color is it? Is it something you chose? Do you care about it? The mattress, the beddings, utensils. What is the color of the saucepans? The forks, the plates, the shape, everything physical that you can see in your space. The clothes that you wear. Do you often think about what colors make you feel good or look good on you? You are thinking about the decor in your house. Whatever it is that you can see in your physical space at home. Now think of your workplace. How does your physical space look? Most possibly, you found the space had already been arranged for you, so they told you sit there. Okay, maybe you don't have an option to make changes. If you don't have an option, how do you feel about sitting in that space every day? Is the chair comfortable? Is the table enabling you to work? When you think of the level or kind of productivity that you are supposed to have, is that physical space enabling you to be productive? Is it enabling you to think properly? Is there a fresh aeration coming into your workspace? If you need to put certain things on the table or the working area, is there enough space for them? So think about anything, everything that is physical in the physical environment. And also issues of access. For example, when you're going home, how do you feel? How do you get there? Some people have to go through terrible roads or emiara, certain spots, which when you get there, they change something about your mental well-being. Okay, so think about all of those things in the physical space, physical environment, and grade them. And if you have different kinds of environments, feel free to partition and allocate a mark for each of those environments. Now, there's a question here. Okay, Edna, we are going to come to that part. We are going to come to that part. Okay, now, remember you are the doctor, you are generating a report for yourself. So now the question is, how does your wheel of life look like? Is it balanced? When you look at the marks that you've awarded yourself, how are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you shocked? Are you disappointed? Are you excited? Do you understand where they're coming from? Can you relate? Is that you, the you wanted to be? Is that you, the you think you are being? The idea of the wheel is that life keeps on moving. It does not stop at any one point. Even when we are going through the worst of times, life keeps on moving. So just take a few minutes and look at your wheel and feel free to share. You can unmute and tell us, this is how my wheel of life looks. Give us a detail that you are comfortable sharing. Over to you now. How does your wheel of life look? Yes, Kovia.
Thank you so much, Viola, for helping us go through this reflection. Just some sort of a follow-up question before I give how my wheel of life looks like. Is there some sort of a pass mark for it? For the grading, maybe below 50, maybe what would be your advice in terms of how that looks like? Because there are areas and should balanced means that at least there should be like some leveled kind of grading for all the aspects. But what happens in meaning that if I have maybe areas where there is 60 and areas where there is 30 and 40, it means that the wheel is not balanced. So what ideally would be, in your experience, using your expertise, what would be the recommendation for what would a balanced wheel look like?
Okay, now that's the secondary layer of this question. But if I give that answer now, it might bias the way you are looking at your wheel. So first of all, give us your own set judgment, your analysis. How do you feel about your wheel? Then we go to that layer.
Okay, so my wheel honestly is not balanced. A lot of aspects are below 50, which is worrisome. I only have 160 and 250s, and the rest are below 40, which is yeah. So that is where I stand. I haven't graded my career. I've graded my finances. My health is at 40. My relationships. So earlier I wanted to ask whether we grade friends and family separately, but my relationships with family is at 50, friends at 40. Romance, and this was significant other or self-romance. It's at 50 and 40 respectively. Personal growth at 50, fun and recreation at 40, physical environment at 40. So that is where I stand, and I didn't grade career. I think I missed out some reflections on that.
Okay. For clarity, on relationships with family and friends, you can grade them separately because they are two separate categories. So it's okay the way you have done it, Skovia. Now, on career, can I go over it for you again so that you are able to grade yourself?
Thank you so much.
Okay, so on career, you are thinking about what career have you chosen? Do you know it? Can you name it? Are you happy with the decision you have made? Did that career choose you or did you choose it? How did you end up there? Was it because you were looking for some sort of income, you were just looking for something to do, or did you make a deliberate decision and say, look, I am going there, this is something I am concerned about, I'm going to be doing this for this duration of my life? Then in terms of career, you're also looking at future projection. When I think of the short-term and even long-term future, are there opportunities for growth? If I stay in this line of work, of practice, will I grow? Are there opportunities? Then you're thinking about the activities you are doing on a daily. What kind of things are you doing? Are they enabling you to enjoy life? Are they rewarding? Are they irritating? Are they enjoyable? You're looking at the kind of people you're working with in your career. Are they supportive? Do they understand you? Do they do their part so that they also enable you to do your part? And then you're also looking at, now this one I didn't mention, but you can include it. What are the points of regret or where you feel you are failing more often, and what is causing that in that line of work? So that gives you a guide. So think about every other thing and grade your career. Okay. So you had her comments on the wheel of life. How does it look? She mentioned words like, this is not what it should be. I don't know what this is. Okay, thank you for sharing. And also I needed to mention at the start that this coaching space is really this interaction space. Let's keep it safe and non-judgmental, and not to go out there and share personal stories of people who shared them here. If you want to share them elsewhere, you have to get permission or let people tell their stories. So you can't use information that someone has shared here against them later on. So we shall be respectful in that way. So thank you for sharing. Any other person would like to share? How does your wheel of life look? How do you feel about it? Okay. It's not a problem if you don't share, by the way. So there's no
I want to share.
Oh, you want to share? Someone wants to share. Mm-hmm. Please,
Yes. Good morning.
Mm.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you so much. Okay, mine, when it comes to business, it is 50%. And you've answered a question that I had that given me a job last month, but then I rejected it because I didn't see any aspect of personal growth in that job. So I was like, no. So somehow I asked myself, do I have a problem? But now you've talked about aspect of growth in that career. So I realized that I was on the right path. Then when it comes to finances, it is really 20%, because most times I find myself spending on things that I've not planned for. Then health-wise, it is 60%, because I try so much to take care of my health. When it comes to relationships with friends, it is 60%, and then with family, it is 80%, and then romance with significant others, it is 30%, and then for self-romance, it is 50%. I really love myself. And then personal growth, this year has really improved. It is on 60%. I've really determined so much to improve myself, to develop myself. And it comes to the environment, physical environment. Yes, it is 80%. And thank you so much. I thought I had also a problem with congested places. Somehow I thought it was right, but it is not. I hate congested places and noisy places. So that's what I have.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Maybe one last person to share? If you are willing to. Okay, now we go to the question of what is a balanced wheel of life? To what extent should life be lived in order for someone to make a conclusion that my wheel of life is balanced? Now, the first thing is for you to acknowledge that actually all of those 8 areas are important and that they are interlinked, such that if one of them suffers significantly, it can easily pull down one other or several others. So when you are looking at balance, there are 2 things. There's the general idea of a pass mark, like we did in school, that you should get at least 50%. it is a logical idea to think of life that way. That I'm not doing badly. Overall, my life is balanced. So on the onset, at least you should be looking at 50% on each of those areas. Now that is the basic. A good performance in life should be at 70 to 90. Why? Because 50 is the minimum, and then if you're at 70, it means you are doing extra. We are not talking about having a balance which is at 100%. We are not talking about perfection. Neither are we encouraging anyone to be perfect in any area, because perfection comes with its own challenges. The moment you realize that you are so perfect in one area, you have to double check. Something else is being compromised, something else is suffering. So the idea is moderation. You allow room for growth. And also the reason you cannot attain 100% is because there are certain issues that are clearly beyond your control, like the people you relate with, the workplace, the uncertainties of life. Certain things will happen and throw you off balance. So look at 50 for basic, but otherwise 70 to 99, somewhere there. Now, that is the first layer of marks. The second layer of marks, for you to know that your life is balanced, is to go back to your goals as an individual. What things did you want to do? Where are you at in life? We progress differently in life because of different factors, which is why we should be slow to judge people who we think are not living the kind of life they should be dealing with. We are coming from different backgrounds. We have had different opportunities. We have different kinds of families, the support systems we've come through, education, friends, relatives, neighbors. All of those things have impact on how individuals progress. So you might look at your wheel of life and then you realize that, for example, you have 10% in finances and someone else has 90. But when you reflect, you realize that you have not been employed maybe for the last, 7, 8 years. And in your logical thinking, there were certain factors that prevented you from being employed. We shall not go to the blame game right now. For example, some people end up in relationships where their spouses tell them you cannot go to work, and it even ends up in domestic violence. So when you are listening to the stories of those people, you're going a bit slowly. Some people are coming from professional backgrounds where it is not necessarily very easy to find a paying job. So they spent more life on the street. Maybe some people were robbed. Someone had set up a good financial foundation and then they were robbed. They made a terrible big loss in their business. So the point I'm making is that there are those variations. Now, how do you deal with that kind of balance? That is for you to go back and be genuine. Look at where you've come from and say, but really, considering the opportunities I've had, considering the kind of decisions I have made, I should be at 80, but I'm not being there. It is my fault. Where are the areas of responsibility where you are fully accountable? Then you can gauge yourself and say, okay, my wheel is not balanced, and this is because of A, B, C, D. I understand that factor very well. And then when you go to the areas where people pulled you down, it was not your responsibility. Then you're thinking, okay, what did I do when those situations happened? How long did I stay in a workplace that was not helping me? How long did it take me to realize that actually I'm a unique human being and I kind of stayed there. People also told me certain things. Oh, you are not good enough. Oh, and I didn't take any step to get out of that situation. Then sometimes a balance is recognized based on the milestones. Sometimes you can look at your wheel and you say, okay, I know I am not doing very well in terms of, let's say, romance with a significant other, but that is because I set for myself a goal and I decided that I'm going to first shelve these other things and pull up this one. Because if I hadn't pulled it up, it was affecting all other areas. So this is why it is ranking higher than the others. And then, so now you go to the qualitative analysis of your wheel of life and you give yourself a genuine analysis. So that one we cannot interfere to say you are being truthful or you are not. That is up to you. It is your personal life. So you evaluate, is your life balanced based on your life journey, the opportunities, the challenges you have gone through. And then after this session, this is when now we are going to start saying, okay, you have to be deliberate to make sure you're getting at least 50s. 50 as the starting point going forward. Okay. Now, you've got the report. You've seen your wheel of life. You can think of why and where things didn't go right, what led to that. Now we are talking about personal growth. Now you have told the doctor that, okay, I've got the report. Let me begin on treatment. Now we are going to the core of personal growth. Personal lives, personal progress rotates around what we call the map of life. We shall begin at values. As an individual, when you look at your wheel of life, what things have you valued before? I've written a book on values, by the way, personal values for young people. So I can talk about that subject very authoritatively. So now you are checking back and saying, when I look at my wheel of life, what things have I valued all along from the time when I was a conscious adult, when I started taking my own decisions? Remember, there were moments when we were not in charge. We were at home, we were in school, etc. What things have mattered to me? And you are the one who knows. What things have I dedicated my time and my money towards? What kind of people have I allowed in my space? Therefore, what you are seeing on the wheel of life is a result of the values that you have had. The things you've given priority. A value is something you consider to be so important that you spend your life pursuing that. It could be an idea, it could be a material thing, it could be a person, the kinds of people, attributes or traits of people. So what priorities have you set before? What priorities have been driving you up to now? Do you even know them? If we asked you that, okay, what things matter to you? What do you stand for in life? Someone might say, oh, me, I stand for service. I stand for education. I stand for leadership. I stand for family. Those things that you are saying you stand for, is there a reflection of you standing for them in your wheel of life? Values determine what we believe, beliefs. And beliefs are true to us until something happens and challenges that status quo. So what things have you been believing? What limitations have those beliefs put on you? For example, there are certain beliefs like, oh, I need to be connected in order to get a good job. But is that a fact of life? It's not a fact. For some people, connections will lead them there. Some people will have to work and they are somewhere based on merit. So you can't keep on saying it is only connections which will lead you there. That becomes a limiting belief. Some people will say, oh, okay, you need to grow older in order to do certain things. That's a belief. It's not a fact. Yes, certain things can be done later in life, but so many things can actually be done earlier in life. So those are examples of beliefs, even religious beliefs. What religious or spiritual beliefs are driving you? Beliefs relating to family, beliefs relating to health. So go back to the wheel of life and check quickly. What things have you believed? Some of those beliefs are myths. They are like legendary stories that we read about in books. There's nothing realistic about them when you relate them to life. Now, what we believe, consciously or unconsciously, determines what we think. The pattern of thinking, what is occupying or preoccupying your mind. It will go back to the things you are believing. If you believe that A has to be done in order for B to come through, that is how you're going to be thinking. And that thinking will determine the kind of actions you take, the kind of decisions you make on different aspects of life. And then when you take actions, they determine your pattern of behavior, how you are coming off, how you are presenting yourself to people, how you are talking, etc. So go back to the wheel of life and check. What is my map of life? What is my basis for my perspectives about life? What is my basis for my perceptions about life? And when I say life now, it becomes a huge thing. So it is easier if you look at the wheel of life and you check. So where I say life, replace it with that particular aspect in terms of personal growth, in terms of relationships. You can even put a more detail. Because our lives are different, there could be just one thing for you about your physical environment which has been derailing you. There could be just one thing about your past. There could just be one thing about your current relationships. What is that thing, or what are those things which have shaped your outlook on life and therefore are giving you the results that you are seeing on your wheel of life? Now, when we are talking about personal growth, this is a technique we use in life coaching. It's called asking yourself the Cartesian questions. When you go to your wheel of life, now you are thinking about personal growth and saying, okay, I need to do something different. I need to change this. I need to work on the other. So you come and ask any one of these questions. You're looking at growth. Cartesian questions. They were proposed by someone called Cartes. What will happen if I do this thing? We are now forward looking. Forget about the past. What will happen if I do something differently in about my personal physical space? What will happen if I don't? Sometimes you can take a decision and it causes chaos, including ending very valuable relationships. But also it can trigger thoughts and actions by people in a way that you didn't expect. So that is the what will happen. I will grow. It might end up badly for some people, but if it is in my interest, then I am going to go on. What will happen if I don't? Normally, when you don't do things, people and circumstances will end up doing them for you, because the natural law of life is that life does not accept stagnation. Every time you try to keep something in stagnation for an unnecessary duration of time, you know that nature will sort you out. Something will happen and throw you off balance, Before you know it, someone will have made a decision for you. You will be shocked. You will fall sick. Of course, death is the ultimate, but something will happen outside of your control. So whenever you're thinking of, if I don't do this, what will happen? Things cannot happen on their own without your input if you're looking for growth. So for example, you might be saying, I want to have a conversation with someone about a certain issue, because if I have that conversation, it will help me to take forward. But then you are saying, okay, I will not have that conversation. If you don't have that conversation, one day that conversation will come by itself. Or if it doesn't come, something else will happen in its place. And then the outcomes will most possibly be different from what you expected. They will also come at a different time. So what won't happen is there are certain things that will not be done. And then later you might look back and say, okay, if I had done this at this point, this would have happened much earlier. Then what won't happen if I do? These are the opposites now of the other questions. What won't happen if I do? What won't happen if I don't? You are reflecting. And then when we are thinking about change, we are saying you cannot continue doing things the same way while expecting different results. So you have to make a small shift, however small. But also sometimes you have to make very big changes. You can decide now and go and overhaul your business. But you have to think, what will happen if you overhaul it? Have you prepared for an alternative source of income? Have you thought about who else is involved in that business? So think about what can you do and what impact will it have. This is why we call it the ecology check. Ecology is the relationship of interrelated things within a space. What is the ecological impact going forward on decisions that you are going to make in order to grow? Now, when we talk about options for personal life, really we are talking about what different life skills do you need in order to grow. Why did we call it options? Because there is a tendency for us to look at things from one perspective. Now, Edna, we are coming to the questions you asked. How do you strike a balance? How do you make sure things are being done? How doesn't something suffer, etc.? Now, when you have options, you are able to approach the issue of personal growth in a dynamic way and to come up with approaches that serve specific purposes so that you are not looking at one general approach for everything. Remember, we talked about personal development. Let me first go back to that part. That personal growth is the outcome of personal development. Personal development includes the steps and strategies that you take in order to grow. So when we are talking about the options now, we are saying think about a particular aspect of your life and then appropriate what step, what strategy do you need to take in that line. A step you take for one thing might be different from an approach you use for another thing. So what we are avoiding is for us to think that one thing will be used as a solution for everything. So what options do you have? Now, the first one is self-reflection. How are you doing life? Reflection, that every time you are thinking of growth, reflect. Think about the things you are grateful for, and then look at areas for improvement. Have that self-awareness. so that you go back to your map of life and you reframe it. But you can only achieve this if you continuously reflect. Remember, we said personal growth is a continuous process. Reflect. Every time you are in a position of making a decision for you to grow, you must reflect. So reflection is a personal skill, is a life skill. Then managing failure. There are certain situations we be in, and the solution is for you to manage failure on one aspect so that you can progress. So it is not always about managing failure, but sometimes it is. So you're looking back and saying, okay, what decision had I made? This is what I had decided. How did I arrive at that decision? I consulted, I made my own decision, etc. Okay, now that part didn't work. But in order for me to grow, I need to accept that it didn't work. So how do I respond to that situation? What lessons am I picking from the mistakes? It is not that whenever we are growing, it's because we have failed. So this is in line with when things have not worked before. If you are trying something for the first time, there's no reason for you to think about managing failure in that aspect. And also that helps you managing failure to avoid generalization. Because sometimes when we do not make it in one part of life, then we are thinking that perhaps all other things are going to fail, which is a misrepresentation of how life happens. So this is why you have to be specific. What particular part am I talking about where I failed and I'm taking responsibility? The other option you have is to cultivate a growth mindset by making small adjustments. Now, when you want to move from A to B, you have to think of it in a motion way. For us who make films, we talk about motion picture. You are moving, you cultivate, which means you establish that mindset, tell yourself, I am going to grow. And then you keep on doing things, those steps and approaches in order to get there. Sometimes you meet people who are saying, I want to do this, but I know I'm going to fail. But it's not going to work. Now, are you talking about growing or being stunted? Which one? How can you combine growing and stagnation in one sentence? The mind functions in a very straight way. It is a scientific thing, but to simplify it is that what you tell the mind is what it takes in. So if you are causing confusion by combining progress and stagnation, that's what the mind will take. And also when you keep on contradicting yourself, then the body system, the value system does not open up for you to embrace and to be able to implement certain things. So the mindset is very key. Exploring your unique purpose, passion, talent, skill. In the end, purpose is about contribution to life. That thing that gives you the sense of having contributed towards life. Your purpose in life is not for you. It is for you to serve other people. Although it is your responsibility to discover what is it that I am meant to do. So every time you're thinking about personal growth, go back to the skill of exploring. How do you explore? Ask questions about yourself. Talk with people about you. Read. Understand things like personality, like character. Today there's a lot of information online in books. Takes us back to what kind of content are we taking in. Understand what are your passions, what are your talents, what are your skills. Remember, a skill is a result of training, professional input. You can have passion and talent, but you are forgetting the skill. You can also have skill, but you are employing it in things that really, they don't turn you on in a positive way. You are just working like a robot just because you know how to do something. So unique purpose combines a good balance of what things are you passionate about, what things can you do effortlessly, your talent, and then how can you do them professionally so that you combine and then you contribute to life. When you think of it that way, then you're looking at relevance. That when I do this, people are going to appreciate that I made a contribution to their life. And later on, maybe one day we shall have a session when we talk about later years in life. When people grow old, they are all yearning for clarity and recognition of what they contributed to life. There is a dissatisfaction later in life which comes from the fact that someone didn't actually do important things to contribute to their environment. This could be family, it could be the larger community, it could be the country, it could be the international community. And that is haunting, because at that point you are looking at yourself, time has gone, energy has gone down, opportunities have reduced, but you didn't explore your purpose. You didn't share you with the world. The other option that you have is being solution-oriented. Sometimes we are stuck in situations because we are not thinking of solutions. You are looking at everything as if it is static, as if that's the only way to get things done. You are not seeking and embracing change. You are not embracing, expanding your intellectual capacity. I've already talked about some of these things. You are not strengthening your willpower. That I have decided to do this. I am going to stick to my plan. I will not allow distractions. Then communication, things like active listening and seeking feedback. Some people are obsessed with speaking all the time. They have a view on everything. They are not listening. They are not seeking for feedback. They are not communicating feelings. Then things about self-care. We talked about them in health. Time management. Personal growth is about aligning your goals with your time. Long-term planning and short-term, in a day, in a week, in a month, in years. What are you going to achieve? Then emotional regulation. We talked about it in personal growth. How are you regulating your emotions? Then decision-making. Decision-making is the ability for you to take a stand and then take action on it. Limiting beliefs, I have talked about them. Now, exploring lifestyle changes. How can you do things differently? How are you eating? What is your sleeping pattern? What is your shopping pattern? Now, the ultimate thing on personal growth is practicing commitment by enforcing self-discipline so that you focus on what's useful and not just what is easy. Because when you want to grow, you are expanding your comfort zone. If you are always thinking, okay, that one might be hard. I have to meet new people. Now I have to change location, go to a new place. And you are worried of those things. It means that you are choosing things that are just easy, but not things that are useful. Now, in the journey of personal growth, there's what we call the line of power. When you leave the line of below the line of power, things are depending on other people, even on non-living things. For example, someone might be blaming their bed for a long time. This mattress, it has pained my back over for how long? And then you are wondering, between you and the mattress, who has to make a decision? Who has to take action? You might be driving a car which is always dying on the road and it prevents you from doing things. And you keep on complaining. So the others here means people and living things. When you are living above the line of power, life is largely depending on you. You are being accountable. You are doing all of those things that I talked about. This is a summary. You are enabling, you are planning, you are in control. You are exercising your ability to have choice. You are looking forward. You are aware. But when you are living below the line of power, you do all of those things. You are blaming, you have unending excuses, you are passive, you are giving power away. You become a storyteller. You know storytelling. Now let me tell you, I wanted to do that thing, but you don't know what I've been through. Okay, we understand you've been through things, but for how long are you going to tell that story? You are not planning. You are disempowered. You are living in self-sabotage, self-sabotaging talk. You are always justifying why things are not happening. So going forward, you have to purpose to live above the line of power. But remember, there's the aspect of moderation. So once in a while, there will be things where you are living below the line of power because this is life. But generally, you should be living above the line of power so that you give yourself the power that you need to grow. Okay. How much time do we have? Let me see the comments.
We have 12 minutes.
Oh, okay. So in that case, let me first hear any comments. Are there any thoughts?
Well, just a minute on the go backwards. There's something I was writing down and you moved ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
The previous slide.
It's coming up. Just a minute. The previous slide.
Maybe Viola, also go back to the previous slide. It's been a while since we saw you. If you can just turn on your video for the audience to see the brilliant coach behind this wonderful presentation.
That one. It's okay.
This one here.
Yes, a minute.
Right.
I'll share that with you if you like.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, any other thoughts about the things I've talked about? If we have more minutes, we'll do the game of life. If we don't, we'll just have the discussion and we end it there. I'm really interested in your feedback. Are these things communicating to you? Do they give you ideas on personal growth?
Yeah.
Dr. I believe so. I think we should go through the game of life. And then people can also share feedback in the chat room or questions so that we can utilize the minutes that they are left with. Or if they are approved, they can also give us an allowance to extend the time by 10 minutes or 5. Yeah. Kezia says they are communicating to her.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this is the second last thing we are doing. We are going to do what we call a game of life. I hope you have got the tool that we are using. Please open it on your WhatsApp. Now, the game of life, it is a game, as you have heard, and we shall play it in this way. I'll mention 2 things, and then you choose one, and then you cancel circles from what you have. So you have 10 circles. Now, when I mention a pair of things, you'll circle according to the instruction that I give you. So it is a game, so you are playing, and you have to play in time. You can't wait.
Like, you could stop sharing the screen and I share it for those who have not accessed it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I hope you can all see my screen.
I wonder where that echo is coming from.
It's loading.
Okay. Spending your life game. What's your view? In marriage, because I sometimes feel some aspects can be compromised due to the influence of a partner. Yeah, marriage is a relationship which is not just an overt relationship, but it has an aspect of romance. So the compromises are there, which is why you have to be on the alert on your personal values so that you discuss and you routinely go back to the drawing board. This is a lengthy conversation. Yes, it does compromise, and in very serious ways, even cultural issues. Hopefully we shall have time to go back to that one. And if we don't, we can have a conversation later. So spending your life game, I'm going to mention pairs of things, and then you circle something as I will be guiding you. So you are playing, you have to play in time. If you abstain to play in a certain round, that's okay, but you can't come back to play it when we have gone past that round. So in the first round, you are choosing between wealth and a good family. You are choosing between wealth and a good family. If you have chosen a good family, cancel any three circles. If you have chosen a good family, cancel any 3 circles. If you have chosen wealth, cancel any 2 circles. In the next round, we are choosing between legacy and education. Legacy and education. If you choose legacy, circle any 3, cancel any 3 circles. If you've chosen education, you are not cancelling any. And please don't change your mind. In the third round, you are choosing between good health and love. You are choosing between good health and love. Romantic love. You want a good, loving relationship. If you have chosen love, circle, cancel 3 circles. If you've chosen love, circle 3, cancel 3 circles. And then, if you chose wealth at the beginning, add yourself 3 circles, draw 3 more circles. Have you added the 3 circles? Now, if you have chosen good health, cancel 4. 4 circles. Do you still have circles, people? Please unmute and let me know.
All my circles are done, man.
Mine are done as well.
I understand what that means.
Okay, now that we have some people whose circles are done, we can end the game here. What are your quick thoughts about this game? How is the pairing? Is it fair?
No, it's not fair at all. You can't choose between wealth and, you can't choose between legacy and education. Okay, well, legacy and education. If you leave a legacy, the kids can go ahead and study eventually. But you still need the education.
Were you happy entirely with the things that you chose? If you had another chance, would you choose differently?
Not quite, but my mind by here says they would have, like, for example, at the point where they have to choose between health and love, they would want to choose both.
Okay. Does life always come in pairs?
Sometimes when you get winning.
So sometimes, life doesn't always come in pairs. When life ends, or when phases of life end, do we always know that they are going to end? And are we always satisfied with the ending?
Not usually.
Now, the lessons we learn from this game is that the decisions we make on the journey of personal growth sometimes turn out this way. Sometimes you have good plans, and then the outcomes are not what you thought. Sometimes opportunities will pass by. Now, there are people who wanted to play, but the circles were finished. And so we shall say, okay, you cannot do this because you spent time already on something else. And well, you didn't know, but sometimes you knew. It was just a result of a wrong decision that you made. Then sometimes it is clearly late to make certain decisions. I know we tend to say that it's never too late to do things, but technically, sometimes it is late to do certain things. So we have to keep that in mind, that you can't keep everything for later because it's going to be late. Sometimes. So you have to be cautious about how much time you have in life and how much time you have for specific things. And then the other issue of the pairing. Things will not always come in the package that you want, the way you want things to be. Sometimes you'll have options at your table which are not complementing each other, or they don't give you a choice. You have to either take them or choose none. That's the situation. That is the reality of life. So that's the lesson we are taking from this exercise. So when you go back to the wheel of life and you are checking and saying, okay, what things do I need to change? What can be different? What will work? What will not work? You have to keep in mind that in case certain things do not work, you are not going to hang yourself. You are going to have that growth mindset and being solution-oriented for you to be able to go back and reframe, to go back and do things differently. Let me hear your feedback on that.
Well, Dr. Sheilah, I want to hear from you. From the options that you have us to choose from, especially as a life coach, what would be your recommendation? I know life is about choices, yes, but as a life coach, I'm sure you're able to guide based on someone's situation or scenario. So I wanted you to guide us on if you were to make those choices as you gave them to us, what would be the order, ideally?
Okay, I'm going to request you to share the Wheel of Life again. Who can share? Oh, can I share? Looks like that right has been taken away from me.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Share.
Yeah, I have shared. Okay, members, when you are making a decision, you have a decision on personal growth. The approach is for you to do your ecology check. That when I make a decision on area A, what will it do? Remember, we're talking about personal growth, not institutional growth. It's personal to you. So I cannot make very specific recommendations because we have different values. We are at different phases of life. So it is you to make your evaluation. This is where you have to have the skill in reflection and critical analysis. It is you to say that now I have been presented with A and B. But looking at my life journey and where I want to go, what works for me? Because I might, for example, that if you've been given an opportunity to go for higher education, please go. But your values might not be wanting to take you in higher education. You want to do something else. So for me, my job is to equip you with the knowledge that you need, that understand yourself, know yourself. What do you need to do and when? I cannot know the full circumstances. For example, even people who are in terrible relationships, romantic relationships, sometimes you're telling someone that I think the best way is for you to leave that marriage. But people are having benefits in a marriage which are beyond you telling them to leave. So that solution cannot work. So the advice I would give you is understand your life. What are the circumstances of your life? What opportunities are being presented to you? What can you make which enable you to get there? If you want to take individual recommendations for you, it would have to be a one-on-one, but it will be misleading for people because our circumstances are different. So the skill is know yourself. What are your goals? Where do you want to go? What is in that circumstance? What decision? What has been your pattern of decision making, and what results have come out of it? That's what I would respond to that question. I think Fortunate is on another.
Fortunate, you have an echo. Maybe if you could mute.
Okay. Any other issue, members? So the baseline for your personal growth is that wheel of life. Always double check. Look at the results that you've been getting so far. What has informed them? Be open to change, but know what kind of change do you need to make. You can't change everything at the same time. Remember the ecology check. Don't overhaul your wheel of life at a go because that will be disastrous. So you have to think critically. What do I need to adjust now so that it will help point A to go up and then point B will also rise? For example, finances have a very big impact on what we do, on our lifestyle, on the decisions we make. So you might look at your wheel of life, and when you do the qualitative analysis, you realize that, okay, all of these problems are coming up because my finances are not in a good place. Then you go and improve the finances so that other areas can grow. Or it might be the question of certain aspects in your personal growth chat, you go back and check, am I responding unresourcefully to situations? Am I not communicating properly? You can go to relationships. Am I dealing with the wrong people? Who is hearing my plans? What kind of advice are they giving me? If you go back to career, you're checking, okay, I ended up here, but it's time for me to exit. And yesterday, someone was asking about changing a career. Maybe you might need to change a career in order for you to grow. So key thing is change something. It could be small, it could be big. And because we are talking about personal growth, it has to be for you within your life as an individual. People's opinions should not influence so much how you deal with your personal life. And even letting things go sometimes fully might be the solution. So that is up to you, the individual. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Viola.
Okay. So allow me to conclude now. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share with you. Let me caution you that when you do this session on the wheel of life, it triggers so many thoughts and reflections, and some of them can be negative because it awakens parts of you that you possibly were not aware of, or you are just going back into memory lane. So I advise that you find time and do a debrief so that you are able to map out what it is that you're going to do going forward. And when those emotions come, please, it is normal. And if you find that the emotions are too strong for you to handle, you get back to me so that we do a debriefing session. And rather than maybe doing it individually, you can organize maybe in about 2-3 weeks so that we come and debrief. So we do closure, so that people don't end up with very serious mental health issues. So I thank you for the opportunity. I hope I have contributed to your journey of personal growth, and I wish you good luck going forward. Have a good weekend.
All right, thank you very much, Viola. We really appreciated your time. I express my heartfelt gratitude to you for such an insightful session on the wheel of life. It's always powerful to pause and reflect on where we are and where we are going. Ladies, if today's session has been insightful, if it has resonated with you and you'd like to explore this further, like Viola has indicated, please feel free to reach out to her to organize a group of people and she discusses with you and explore further clarity and how you can get support. And then thank you to Sheilah Ankunda for bringing us together for this important conversation and for trusting me to moderate today's session. It has been a privilege to guide the session and hold space for such meaningful reflections. Spaces like this continue to remind us that growth and transformation happen in community, and I'm really grateful to be part of it. As part of your purpose, like Viola already shared, I would like to invite you ladies to join me in a new program that we have started called Healing Hearts, a space for those navigating the journey of life after loss, and for those seeking a community understanding and a kind of healing that transforms not just our hearts but our entire lives. Thank you again for being with us this morning, and have a beautiful weekend.